thought it was recording already, but here we go. Okay, so let's continue. I'm going to take us back to our Canvas course page. And as I think I mentioned in the video that I posted on Canvas, there are several ways of navigating through the course. If you simply want to get straight to a topic, a section of the course, you want to download the PowerPoint notes or whatever, down here at the bottom of the homepage is a dashboard, and you can use it, for example, to go to one. So for example, I have a link here that takes you to a module on Canvas that has all of the PowerPoints in one shot. I'm sorry that it sometimes takes a little bit of a time to load here. So here we go. Here are the lecture PowerPoints, direct access. So if you don't want to search unit by unit, here are the PowerPoints that you can access, okay? Let me go back here to the home page again. And let's say you want specifically all the materials related to a particular topic. So let's say our second topic was going to be atoms and elements. You can click here on the dashboard. Again, it's going to take you to our course modules, and it is going to allow you to go in. It should, like I said, it takes a little bit of a while depending on your internet power and your computer's power. If I were doing this with my other laptop, it would take twice as long. But here we go. So for example, if you wanted to get the PowerPoints, there they are. But if you wanted to look at the lecture videos, that would have taken you directly to the section where you can look at the lecture videos. I've tried for many of our lectures to break them down into small, kind of like video files or videos, so that you can, don't get overwhelmed with stuff. And so it's easier to search for things. All right. So let's come back here to our homepage once more. And another way you can navigate through this is by going here on the course navigation bar. There is a connection here that says modules, and that will simply open to all of the modules. Now, a module essentially is a block of content that is organized by a specific topic. So, for example, I had asked you to, before we started today, was to look at these sections here. Before we begin, I had a little welcome video there, so many of you should have already seen my face. A little bit of navigating through Canvas. Today has been a little more detailed. This one tells you how to, excuse me, how to upload files into your assignment boxes, how to locate assignments and data sets. I'm going to go through that in a moment also. And a little intro to Excel and graphing. We also have some general course resources here. So like I said, if you had questions about the textbook, excuse me, this page has like all kinds of connections and links. For example, for if you want to opt out of the auto enrollment in the e-textbook, either because you already have the book or because you have a hard copy of it, yeah, don't spend the money on more than what you need. Okay, you don't need to spend that money if you already have the book in other format. All right, let's go back here. And it tells us here, general course resources. You need a periodic table. I have one in here. It's probably very good. It's probably it's the one that I'm going to give you when we do exams as a handout. So you might as well have a copy of it for yourselves. If you have issues with PowerPoint, there's also a free software you can download. But like I said, LBCC students have access to Office 365 Suite. So you can work on all the apps either online, or you can work them, download them into your computer. Okay. Now, overall, I have two blocks of modules. One block is the course by weeks. And in this case, the material is organized into the activities you'd be doing week by week. So for example, you can have here displayed, like I'm showing here, all of the activities for your first week. Today's session, so I'll put our recording of this session will go in here. A suggested plan of study. This is where you're going to upload your extra credit. So assignments, Here are the lecture videos for the first unit on matter and measurement. Our lab activities for this week consist of watching these videos on using an analytical balance, lab safety videos, and then you're going to have a quiz, which is due by September 4th, and you'll have a quiz. If you try to open that now, just so you can see what's going to happen, is the quiz is locked. So you can't start taking this quiz until tomorrow. So just trying to keep you guys on pace here, okay? I don't want people getting ahead of themselves or too far behind either. Okay, so that's week number 1. Please read through and make sure you might want to make yourself a calendar of things. But here's what I've done here is, this is week number 2. I basically have completed the first 14 weeks of the course. I still had to organize weeks 15 and 16, which includes essentially the 4th partial exam and the final exam, all right? So let me show you what I've done here for you. And this is something, again, that was a very positive thumbs up from my students in the summer. They loved that I would provide this. So I know that studying a class online takes a lot of personal motivation and a lot of discipline, all right? Your time management skills will be stressed, especially if you're taking, 3 or 4 classes right now, okay? So what I do is I post these weekly suggested plans of study. But rather than do it here, you can either, from here, you can either preview it or download it. But I just want to show you what it looks like. Just give you like a live version of it. This would be now the thing you would download. So let me look at it here. Here we go. So this is the week 1 plan of study. So what I'm doing here is giving you a suggested time track, all right, of how you could go through the course week by week. So here, for example, are the things you should have done before we started. This is today. For example, what I would say is, since I'm not going to start unit 1 in this session, but rather it'll be part of your lecture set that you can watch whenever you have time. So you're going to do that on your own. You can watch your lab videos, and you can review the discussion forum assignment that we have for this week. And those of you who did the Quest for Success extra credit assignment, make sure that by midnight tonight, you have gone to that page, opened that assignment, and uploaded your completion badge, okay? You get 5 points extra credit for that. Now, if I were you, for example, tomorrow, I would continue studying Unit 1, finishing the lecture videos, start working on our measurements activity. This is what we call a dry lab. In other words, it's just like a problem set. There's no actual working with chemicals or anything. And I would start working on the Unit 1 homework. I'll talk about that in a moment. And then the next day, I would start experiment G, which is actually a graphing activity. And that's when you have experiment M due. So see, this tells you day by day what you could do. Now, the first one's a little longer. It's 2 pages. Most of them are 1 page long only. And essentially, the idea is that by the end of this week, you should have finished units 1 and 2 of the course. You should, by the end of the week, post your discussion forum post, which is essentially a short bio of yourself. And then notice that that requires that you reply to 2 other students. I'll go over that in a moment. And then typically what I do is I put a little note here for the weekend, enjoy Labor Day weekend, but don't get behind, finish homework 1 and the graphing experiment. So that is essentially something you're gonna get in every weekly module, all right? Cool. Okay, so let's see another thing about the homepage here. Again, if you have questions, please put them on the chat box, and in my next break, I'll look at them. I can't see your chat box right now while I'm sharing my screen. Okay, what do we have here? Oh, okay, let's go. Oh, sorry, let's go back here to where we were. So, as I was saying, you can navigate the course week by week, or alternatively, right? This is week number 2. I will get back to you later on by the time of our first exam. There's stuff here already for our first exam. But let me show you here at the bottom, after you take through all this, and notice that I only have it up to week 14. Okay, so week 15 is under construction, so is week 16. But over here is a different set of modules, and in this case, they are organized topic by topic. This is where you can get any one of the PowerPoint notes, all right? Here is Unit 1, so everything you need for Unit 1 is in here, including the homework. So if you, for example, you wanted to get the lecture video for, naming compounds, you don't remember what date we did that on, but you can look it up here in the unit of compounds, and here are the lecture videos for compounds, okay? So that's what I'm saying, is that you can navigate this any way you want. And I just want to point out at the very, very, very bottom of all this, we have a section called the community at LBCC. Oh, study guides. I'll put them in here, but I'll typically put those on the week by week organization. There are several things that I like to put in here about basic needs, community resources, the school stands on DACA, the college promise. And as things come up, of course, we are living in a time of intense conversations and calls for change in the area of social justice. And I'm sure that at different points, our college, who is really very, very aware and sensitive and active in those arenas, will have information, and I'll put it in here, okay? All right, so I wanted to now show you another navigation tool here. This is kind of long here. Okay, so you saw that in the week by week sections, you do have some of the assignments. Now you can also access the assignments here on the course navigation bar. Here they are. And they are divvied up. Here is what it says, upcoming assignments, and it tells you what is coming up. So pretty much right now, it's got like almost everything in here, because anything that's open is going to be showing in here. I told you that I've only gone as far as week 14. So these are the assignments, but you will be getting, I believe, different types. Now you can go here, go change this to show by type. And so what you have here is, here are the discussions, here are the lab reports. So let's look at this week's discussion. I'm going to open it because it's already available. Some of them don't open until later on, but this is called the Quantum Cafe. And my summer students loved this and did a great job with it. So for the first week, I want you to see a little bit about myself. Of course, I have in my lecture 1 video, I have a little more about myself also. So you're going to be posting a brief personal bio, and you need to submit this by September 3rd. Then what you're going to do is, after you have posted your bio, you will be able to see other students' posts. And so what you'll do is, kind of like browse through, go through, take a view of other students' posts. And if you find anything interesting, you're going to reply to those students. Very short, remember, observe proper rules of etiquette. And I gave you some examples here of what are some kinds of responses that you could have, okay? So we're gonna have, hopefully over the 16 weeks that we have, hopefully we'll have about somewhere between, 7 to 8 of these discussion forums. Some of them are gonna be on a personal thing like this. Some of them are gonna be kind of like experimental questions to make you think about, how would you deal with this kind of error in our experiment or things like that, okay? So those are some of the kinds of assignments that you're going to have. Now, another type of assignment that you will have is lab reports. The first few lab reports are essentially work on quote unquote paper. Okay, they're what we call dry labs. But let me show you something about next week, on week 2, you are going to have your first quote unquote, wet lab. Now, of course, you guys are not doing these things physically in a lab. So what you're going to be watching is simulations, and you're going to be receiving. So here is what you're going to see. So this is the first experiment for next week, melting point. It tells you here what to do. We don't have a lab manual. So every experiment has its own handout that you can download here. It's in Word format. So when you do the report, you can simply fill in the blanks in Word. All right. Make sure you review the guidelines. One of the things that's going to happen is many of your labs are written in a format that is not very easy to follow. So I'm going to ask in those cases for you to turn in a pre-lab outline. And for this first lab, I'm giving you the outline already, so you can use it as a template for other labs. Typically, there are videos with an introduction, with the procedures, with a sample set of results. And then over here on the top, there's always a submit assignment button. So when you click on that, you will have to upload your file. So make sure that you read the instructions, and at the bottom of each of these boxes, what is required for you to turn in. Now, let me show you how it works. So for these labs, what happens is you are given a file that has a set of data. We call it the unknown. And different students get different unknowns. So let me show you what would happen here for a good buddy here, Peter Parker. Okay, so Peter's gonna come in here, and the way this is gonna work for this particular assignment is he goes to his grades. This is the grade book. Eventually, it'll be populated with the grades for each one of these things. And we're gonna look here for experiment 1. So we're gonna scroll down. Here's experiment 1. Notice that at the far right, there's a little dialog box icon. If you click on that, you're going to see a message from your professor and then a place to download the file for your unknown. All right. So you'll click there and download it. Let me show you what this one specifically looks like. I have it in here. Oops, my mouse is kind of like hurting a little bit here. So for example, this would have been Peter's unknown. So this is what you get. So it's essentially a replica of the data sheet, but with some of the information filled in as if the student themselves had done. So here's the unknown number. You'll you'll understand what this means when you see the videos and stuff. But these were the mixtures that he made. This is the data that he got. And over here, the goal is to identify which compound was that unknown number 4 amongst 3 candidates, and then explain how you arrive, excuse me, at your conclusion. So this is the typical type of file that you're gonna get when you do these labs, okay? All right. Well, I think that it is time for my last break of the day. So I'm gonna take a little 2-minute break. And when we come back, I will answer some of the questions that you have on the chat box, and I will wrap up our discussion, our introductory here, and tell you what's going to happen over the next week or so. All right, so let's take a little break here. Okay, students, we are back, and this will be our final run here. I hope to finish by 2:30, mainly because I have physical therapy at 3, had to take off. So let me address a few questions that have come up as we've gone along. One of them, it had to do with homework. You are going to be uploading your answers to the homework. You can do that as a file, as a PDF, a picture converted to PDF. You are not allowed to upload JPEG or PNGs or any kind of those picture or image format. It has to be PDF or a document file. File. And I don't grade the homework. I gave you a link to where the answers to the questions are. If you're using a different edition, not the 5th, the questions are almost pretty much the same questions. They just may have different numbers. So you should be able to find them in that link to the online answers for the TRO textbook. All I'm going to check is if you completed, at least half or, almost all of it. But it is going to be your responsibility to check the answers and make sure that they're correct, because I'm not going to be grading them. All right. Another question had to do with the periodic table. In exams, I will give you the periodic table during exams, and you have to use the one that I give you. You cannot use your own, but the one I'm going to give you is the same one that's in that file. You just can't, you're not going to be allowed to open other files except what I give you for the exams. Okay. Another question was, when do we turn in assignments? So every assignment has a due date. And if you check a little more precisely, you will see that they are typically all due by midnight of whatever the due date is. So for example, your extra credit opportunity that was due today, you have until midnight tonight to submit that assignment, which is pretty much uploading the completion batch. Okay, that's how it works. Again, another question was if we were going to have meetings Mondays and Wednesdays at 1. No, we don't have any scheduled meetings except for exams. Again, please make sure you look at the syllabus, okay? Look at the syllabus for what are going to be the dates and the times of those exams. All right. So that's pretty much answering most of the questions. I will download the chat box dialogues here. So in case I missed anything, I can contact you directly. Okay. Hey, that's how I roll. I want to make sure that you guys feel at ease talking to me. And so please make sure that you have, you know, your stuff ready and that you're on top of your deadlines. All right. Okay, so let's go back here to our Canvas page. And the last thing I wanted to run through, I gave you a little example of how you could download your file for your unknown in an experiment where that is required. In your, I think in your modules here, I think I put a alternate way of getting this, and that is if you're just using your iPad or iPhone and you put in the Canvas student app, which I explained here in before we begin how you can get that, there is here in this page called files, it shows you how to use different things here. And then there's another page here that says how do you locate assignments and data set. And this was done by your SI instructor, Alexa. She actually was kind enough to do this for us. And this is what it would look like if you do it in the Canvas app. So there's some pictures in here. They might be a little faint, but you should be able to go through them and figure out what to do. Okay, let's go back here to the assignments. Let me see if I'm missing anything. Again, assignments, did I miss that? No, here we go, sorry. Okay, so we have discussions, we have lab reports. Let me collapse these things so I can navigate the homework. So your first homework is due pretty much this week. It's already, let's see, it's gonna be available, it's been available since 1 p.m. today. So please, again, read the instructions. Submit the assignment here. You'll have to upload a PDF, doc, or docx format. So if you do it by hand, I give you in that Canvas before we begin module some ideas of how you can take a picture with your phone camera and convert it to a PDF document. There's several ways of doing that, and you can upload it. Somebody might ask, how do I know what homework we have to do? I'm glad you asked. Yes, let's go there. So over here, in our modules section here, let me collapse this before we begin thing. Okay, oops, sorry. I got a little slow on me, all right. Okay, come on, you can do this, there we go. In the general course resources, all right, here's a page that says homework assignments, and essentially which problems you turn in depends on which edition of the textbook you have. So most of you were signed up to the online edition of the 5th edition. So you can just go here and it shows you here. I'm going to do the preview form, and it has like a PDF. You can view it in here and see what are the questions you have to answer. So it says here, homework 1, the numbers of the homework do not match the chapters in the book. They're simply matching the units. The questions and prompts here, for example, 1.33, 1.37, that means chapter 1, question 33, chapter 1, question 37. And you have, those are the only ones you have to submit. If I were you, I would, in preparation for the exam and in trying to get more skills, more expertise, I would do other questions. All of the questions, I think, have the answers in an appendix in the back of the book, but they don't show you the solution, how to solve the problem. Notice when we get to unit 4, right? Notice that as you scan through, some of the questions are from chapter 4, but some of them are from chapter 5. That's because Tro sort of like switched things around in the 5th edition. So make sure that you are doing the homework that corresponds to your edition of the book, all right? Make sure that's the one you're doing. Great. So I'm glad you asked, because I did want to answer that question. All right, coming back here to assignments again. Like we said, we have different types. Remember, you can sort these by dates that they are due. So let me collapse the homework. And then tests, we have quizzes, we have exams, and exams are not showing here right now because none of them is published. But the quizzes are ready, except they're not available, they're locked. So you can see more or less what the topics are. Your first quiz will be open tomorrow at 5 p.m. and it'll be due by September 4th at midnight. Each quiz is worth 10 points. Okay, guys, once the deadline is passed, in other words, at the stroke of midnight on September 4, you will no longer be able to access the quiz. That is not the case for homework and lab reports. I do give you a few extra days. Now, if you read the syllabus, there is a policy for assignments that are turned in late. There's a deduction. But for quizzes and exams, there is no such break. Once the deadline hits midnight, that's it. Your chariot becomes a pumpkin again. So let's make sure that you get those done. And please, again, like I said, if you encounter any difficulties, any problems, just let me know, okay? Just try to let me know ahead of time. But if not, just let me know as soon as possible. I can work things out with you, okay? I'm not an ogre, and I'm definitely not a police or law enforcement officer, all right? So please read the syllabus about how extra credit works. So extra credit essentially is not counted until the end of the semester. And at the end of the semester, I will add those points to whichever category it helps you more. I will also drop the lowest lab report score, okay? That's the only one that I drop. I don't drop quizzes or exams, all right? But like I always said, please work things out with me if you encounter any difficulties. Don't be shy. Don't second guess yourself. Every question you ask me is equally valuable. It's important to me. Okay, let me see if I missed anything. No, I just want to come back here and remind you to please make sure that you are on top of your assignments. Again, like I said before, guys, it's very hard to sustain a discipline of study when the course is online. Most of my students, again, looking at their surveys, what they said their major hurdles were, well, other than things like, for example, work or living in a household with a lot of siblings and having to share just one computer. I understand all that, guys. So any problem you have, let me know. But one of the major obstacles that students share with me was distractions. It's easy to get distracted. I mean, you're checking out, okay, when is this coming up on Netflix, or when are they going to have this one on Disney Plus? Or we're in the middle of the NBA playoffs. That draws a lot of attention. Okay, so make sure you stay on top of this week 1 activities. I mean, I strongly recommend you follow that suggested plan of study. It will help you distribute the work in a reasonable way, in a well-paced manner, and it'll set up yourself for success, I believe. Okay, let me come back here so you can see my face. And so a couple of questions they ask us here. Are we going to print out exams? The answer is not. Exams are going to be totally online. As a matter of fact, you are not allowed to copy or to print any portion of the exam. That is one of the things you'll do at the beginning of the exam. You'll have a module where you will essentially sign an agreement to abide by our academic integrity policies. And one of them includes you have to take the exam by yourself. You can't get any help on it. The only things you're allowed to look at is the handout that I'll give you, the exam page. And then once you turn in the exam, you will upload your scratch paper on a separate assignment box, okay? So that's how it's gonna work. Somebody's asking me how many attempts on quizzes. It varies. Some quizzes you'll have 1 attempt, some you'll have 2 attempts. And standard time for a quiz is 20 minutes, which means once you get started, the clock starts ticking and you have 20 minutes to complete your work. For exams, it is 2 hours from the start point. Again, if you are on the DSPS program, I would have gotten an accommodation letter, and I will work with you to make sure that you have the best accommodations that I can provide. There's some things that I cannot provide, like, for example, a quiet, free of distraction space. A lot of that depends on where you're at and where you're doing your studying at. I cannot help you with that, okay? Hey guys, it's been great being with you. Let me know if you have any more questions. Again, just put them here quickly on the group chat. I will stay on here for a couple more minutes in case we have that. And yeah, you know what? If you guys want, I'm gonna switch over this on my side to the gallery view so I can see all your tiles here. I'm calling them cards instead of tiles.
Hi, Professor. I just had a quick question.
Is this Ingrid?
Hello?
Yes. Is this Ingrid?
Hello? Hello? It's not working.
I hear someone
I'll
talking.
just put it in the...
You can't hear me. Oh, you're muted. I could hear you. Was that you, Ingrid? Hello? I guess she lost her.
Yeah. I had a question regarding the badges.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was kind of confused whether if you wanted a screenshot of, I think there's like a little description box that shows the badge and the recipient information and the date that
Either one
the
is fine.
badges
You can show, a screenshot is good. The badge itself, the badge file
Okay.
itself is good. I mean,
Oh,
anything that
okay.
shows you completed the assignment, that's enough. All right?
Okay.
Thanks for asking though.
Another question was I was reading through the book yesterday and I couldn't find the answers for the conceptual questions in the reading. Do you know where I can find them?
The
I was looking through
answers
the
for the
appendix.
conceptual and questions. Are those the ones
Yeah.
inside the chapters? Or at the end of the
Yeah.
chapter?
Oh no, it's within the reading. It's not towards the end. And I was looking through the end of the chapter to see if I can find the solutions or in the appendix, but I couldn't find it. So I was thinking there are
Well,
no
let's see.
solutions.
I'm going here to the link to the 5th edition solutions. And there it is. And let's see, chapter 1, for example.
I think I had trouble with 1.7.
So they're all in here. So here's 1 point. Oh, sorry. Next page. So here's 1.7. Is that it? Does that look like it?
No, that's not it. Yeah, I found the solution sort of like that too. I don't know. I guess it's not fair because it was just a question. It was just like a conceptual question. I forget, but it was something like whether chemical energy is, what type of energy is chemical energy or something like that. It wasn't math or anything.
Yeah, I haven't browsed through this whole thing here.
Yeah.
But if you, like I said, if you open up, for example, chapter 1 here, for example, there's for practice, but it looks like all they have is, they don't have the ones like inside. Here's some review questions.
I think I'll be looking into it then. I didn't know this was there. Thank you.
So just follow this link, see if they're there. If they're not, then just send me a message on the inbox and we can I can walk you through it.
For the office hour to meet with you, is it the same Zoom conference link as this conference link?
No, this was only for this class.
One?
I'm going to set up a separate
Okay.
link for the Zoom sessions. Yeah, as soon as I have. Sorry guys, I need to take a cup of coffee. Marvel.
All right. I think that's all of my questions. Thank
You're
you.
gonna hear a lot of Marvel comics stuff from me. So get ready, get your mojo on, put on your costumes and stuff. Okay, any other questions?
Halloween's coming.
Well, I'm not that crazy. All right, guys, we're gonna leave it there. And like I said, I will have this session recording available to you probably by tomorrow. Thanks for joining in, right? And hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Again, we are still in times of turmoil in our society. So please stay safe. And in the words of the great sages of our generation, Bill and Ted, be kind to one another. Thank you. Bye.
Professor?